Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I enjoyed what I've heard. It's great to know that we are all full of energy in the same tune. It's a great joy that we welcome to Kitachi Energy Connection, the new era of electricity. I'm Natalia Ariade. I'm a journalist and at Times Brazil, a licensee from CNBC Brazil, and we have the honor, and for me it's an honor, a privilege, a responsibility to do all that. And I'm here as an MC of this special meeting with the mission to conduct you through a morning that it's going to be pretty special. It's a great joy to be here in Pindamonhangaba, celebrating the historic milestone not only for Hitachi Energy but also for our country. We gathered leaders, strategic partners, authorities, members of Hitachi Energies, and specialists. So if you are here, you are pretty special. Everyone here is part of this innovation, economic impact, and contribution journey to a more sustainable energy future. It is the presence of each of you that make this event even more amazing. So thank you very much. It's a great joy to be a full house, extra seats, knowing about your interest. And for everyone to enjoy this experience, we have some messages for you. Keep in mind, we have available headsets for simultaneous interpretation. So if you need, you can use for English and Portuguese interpretation. At the end of the event, you just kindly return to the same place where they were collected. So, as this is very important for Hitachi Energy, this event is being recorded and photographed, and the material will be used for the dissemination in our internal and external channels. We couldn't fail to mention something that is in Hitachi Energy DNA, that is safety. So, as we gather, is a structure special for this occasion. We ask you to be careful about what I'm going to say. Usually I say, whoa, imagine if you think about that when you came in. So congratulations for the production and those who really made this. I want to share that when I was driving here this morning, the driver, when I told him where we were coming, he said, finally I found out what is that structure that is causing a big buzz in the city. Is it a concert, Cirque du Soleil? So it's Hitachi that is coming. He was pretty joyful with the company. Everybody's talking about there will be a lot of opportunities and job opportunities, and I even more honored. And I told him that the show that was here was not the Cirque du Soleil, but it was another type of show. All that to say that this structure was built for this occasion, and it's important for you to follow the instructions of the organizing team, respecting the safety procedures. So everybody will together leave this amazing event that was planned for each of you. So, as a sign of respect to our homeland and the importance of this moment, I kindly ask you to turn off or put your cell phone in silent mode so you can hear the Brazilian national anthem.
Ouviram do Ipiranga as margens Muito bom, muito bom. Enquanto todo mundo
So while you take back your seats, I would like to thank and mention the presence that we are pretty honored. So on behalf of your host, Glauco Freitas, the president of Hitachi Energy in Brazil, we would like to thank the presence of Ricardo Piorino, the mayor of Pindamonhangaba, Peter Hafner, the General Consul of Switzerland in São Paulo, Kazutoshi Inoue, Vice Consul of Japan in São Paulo, the representative of the Pindamonhangaba municipality, Olga Ganon, from the Brazilian Society of Aeolic Energy, Wilson Ferreira Jr., President of the Managing Board of Matrix Engineering, Venilton Tadini, President of the Brazilian Association of Infrastructure and Base Industry, authorities presenting and represented, city representatives, city secretariats, and also presidents of associations, leaders from the sector, and my colleagues journalists, ladies and gentlemen. To start this morning, we have the honor to invite our host, Mr. Glauco Freitas, President of Hitachi Energy in Brazil. We have a full house today. Good morning, everyone. It's with a great joy that we welcome each of you, and there's a special moment for the history of Hitachi Energy in Brazil. Today, we celebrate together the milestone of our new plant in Pindamonhangaba. A milestone for the company, for the city, and also for the energy of the country. I would like to thank the authorities who are here, and soon will also have the floor. I also thank Mr. Ricardo Piorino, the mayor of Pindamonhangaba, André do Prado, the state representative from the Legislative Assembly of the state of São Paulo, and we also thank the VP of Brazil and the Ministry of Development, Geraldo Alckmin, and the Ministry of Mines and Energies that, even not being physically present today, sent messages congratulating us by video. And I would have to thank the state of the government of São Paulo, represented by by Jorge Lima, the Secretary of Development, that since he got to know our intention on expanding our business, helped us to try to find an area that would serve our needs, just like this one where we are. Since the beginning of the process, they supported us, and they were great to the placement of this plant in the city of São Paulo. I would like to thank our clients, our partners, and all authorities that came from different parts of Brazil to be here in this amazing day. The trust and your partnership are essential for us to grow and innovate. And the community of Pindamonhangaba, we would like to thank you. Since the first moment in which we started to negotiate the placement of our plant here, we were received with respect, hospitality, and enthusiasm. This welcome, dear Mayor, reinforces our conviction that this is the right place to start this journey. And last but not least, I would like to thank the entire Hitachi Energy Brazil team, because it's due to your commitment and the commitment of each of you that we are here today. This moment is the living proof of our collective work. Hitachi Energy is present here in Brazil for more than 70 years, and throughout all these 8 years have consolidated its trajectory of contribution, responsibility, and trust. Today, we reinforce our commitment in investing in the future of energy and Brazil. We live the age of electricity. The decisions we make today in relation to electrification will shape the world for centuries. The increase of demand for power is leveraging the next industrial revolution, and the exponential growth of artificial intelligence and the increase of artificial intelligence, I apologize. And for the country, electricity is the major source of clean and renewable power, able to reduce emissions, able to speed up the energy transition for a more sustainable future. Modern grids are essential for reducing emissions, amplify the access to energy, and increase the climate resilience, being able to generate trillions in economic gains and save lives up to 2050, according to the United Nations. The private sector has a decision-making role in this process. Hitachi Energy believes that there is no transition, no energy transition without transmission. So we continue to invest in innovation, digitalization, and infrastructure, together with the government and global organizations, to assure a supply of energy that is safer, accessible, and sustainable. As we grow the generation through renewable sources, it's possible to modernize and expand the grids, and without this infrastructure, clean energy won't reach those who need. Electricity leverage industries, communities, and people's well-being. Making the network, the grid, more modern is to promote social equity, creating opportunities, and leverage the development. Today, when we launch the milestone of this plant, we are going to start more than a physical construction. We are going to build a legacy of contribution for a more sustainable, flexible, and safe, not only to Brazil, but to the entire world. I invite you all to celebrate this beginning with our team. This is the milestone of our story, history, and I invite you to dream and build a better future together. Thank you very much.
Palavras inspiradoras, né? Muito obrigada por elas.
And it's very inspiring words.
Deve ser muito emocionante
And
estar à frente de uma empresa
according to his words, it's amazing to have this ahead of you. So to lead Hitachi in this important moment. So now, with a great joy, I would like to invite the host of this city, the mayor of Pindamonhangaba, Mr. Ricardo Piorino. Good morning, everyone. It's a great joy to be here with you. I cannot hide my happiness. Just like the entire population, I was quite excited. We worked hard and we prepared our city with a lot of care. We made it attractive, seducing, with technical professionals who are part of our management, of our term, people who are serious and who are worried to serve with quality. Not differently with those who want to invest and search for a safe place, a place to invest and have return. And I'm quite happy, and I would like to share with Dr. Israel our former work, because our former mayor, sorry, and our mission when we started together was to transform people's life, work seriously and plant, because we know we were choosing the right thing. God is so good that it allows us to choose what to plant, and also teach us that planting good things will only harvest good things. And that's why we are here in our working journey, always trying to plant good things to harvest even better things. Today, we have plenty to harvest. We are receiving Hitachi, this giant multinational company here in Pindamonhangaba. And I want, on behalf of Mr. Glauco de Freitas, the president of Hitachi in Brazil, to greet each of you from Hitachi's family. I got to know a lot of amazing people that I want to be friends with for the rest of my life. And I want to learn with you all how to treat people, serious people, people who are prepared, like Mr. Bruno, Alexandre, Alberto, someone who's amazing. And we, Alberto, when we received you at our office, we felt a difference in your seriousness. I saw in your eyes the trust you were putting in our city. And I always said to our team, let's continue as we are, because a lot of things will come to our city. And I have no questions about it. Many other many other industries will come to our city. Hitachi, among the companies that are waving at us, it is the first one. We have giant companies that are waving to Pindamonhangaba. Today, we are the city that has the highest per capita revenue in the Vale do Paraíba. Just Google it. Pindamonhangaba, the city that has the greatest, the largest or highest per capita revenue, the second in quality of life. We were the second city to receive the title of Smart City in Brazil. And that didn't come from nowhere. It was the result of all the investment, all our dedication. Today, we have the joy to receive daily, every week, mayors from other cities, investors planning to copy the model. Since when you enter Pindamonhangaba, there's no way you won't see the brightness of our city. People are received with arms wide open, an enchanting, seductive city that offers security to any investor. We also need to thank everything that is happening in Pindamonhangaba to this amazing person who just arrived with us, that is the president of Deputado André, who is today the head of our Legislative Assembly, Jorge Lima, who's also pretty important, presenting, introducing our city and giving and ratifying the entire credibility and seriousness of Pindamonhangaba in relation to its work. So we are pretty grateful. And André do Prado and Jorge Lima, we have this partnership, and I'm from the same party as them. I have him as my godfather, and well, Governor Tarcísio, a great partner. I would like to thank also Geraldo Alckmin, who couldn't be here because he is in a meeting from the ministry, and in the afternoon he will be going to Mexico for an important meeting. But I would like to talk about Hitachi.
So this is the first moment of a new era. In the past decades, we have seen the greatest investment in our industries here in our city. This investment is at around 1 billion Brazilian reais. 1 billion Brazilian reais. We're talking about this amazing, huge company, Hitachi, which is responsible for the manufacturing and production of energy transformers in the world. In fact, I am curious about this sector, and I studied about it, and I went there to learn more about Hitachi, and they are the second when it comes to transformer. Sorry, the second largest produce half of what Hitachi produces, half of it. And we say we produce here, we say we because I already feel I belong to this family. We manufacture here in Brazil the biggest transformer in the world, right, Mr. Glacko? That we go to the city of Neon in the Emirates, which is the model city in the world, and it is manufactured here in Brazil, the biggest energy transformer. And also, I'm really happy that you're concerned about sustainability as well. You have this responsibility to look after the planet, being an active player, producing positive results. We know that we are going to have a rather meaningful participation in COP30 that will take place here in Brazil, in Belém, in the state of Pará. I'm very happy and excited about it. I'm proud to be Pindamonhangaba's mayor, and I was the president of the our legislative assembly as well. So I will fight for the good things that will happen in our city and for our friends to be there. Pindamonhangaba must continue growing. Welcome Hitachi. May God bless you all. You can count on us. We'll be partners. We're going to be close to you in both difficult moments and happy moments, but especially in those tough moments. I would like to share with you every single moment of achievements because our city deserves that. Hitachi deserves that. The people deserve that. We are together with this common mission to transform people's lives with responsibility and a lot of respect. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much for your words and your warm welcome of Pindamonhangaba's mayor, Ricardo Piorino. So now I would like to invite on stage Mr. Jorge Lima, the Secretary of Economic Development in the state of São Paulo, representing the São Paulo's Governor Tarcísio de Freitas. Good morning. First of all, I apologize for the delay. We were expecting the helicopter to land here, but we couldn't find a spot to land. So we have another event in the afternoon, and we should be there. So I apologize for the delay. Unfortunately, because of this event, he couldn't be here, but he sent his welcome to everyone, and also this I think I call her the best version of Michelle Obama. She's been working really hard, so she also said that she's wishing everyone a great event. So I have great moments to celebrate. The first one is my role is to retain companies in São Paulo and bring new ventures to São Paulo. We're very happy because we had this goal to have 4 billion reais of investments, private investments up to 2026. Until yesterday we had 530, and among them we had Hitachi's investment. So I was very happy when Glauco approached me. He had this Dutra's strategic planning for heavy transportation loads, and Israel and Ricardo, they said that they offered this to you. So there is another great achievement that is close to you. So it's on your hands. So a new venture. This was only possible for the city because of the work done by Israel and Ricardo. Without them, without problem. When there is a win, we have many people that are in the picture, right? When a team wins, you have all the players there, but there are other people involved. Glauco and his team, and also their project of Ricardo and Israel and Eduardo Prado, what was crucial in our design. André, you know that I'm really grateful for your work, and without that, these are the players that made this investment possible. So we should appreciate the work of those that did it, not those that celebrated. Another point is that I lived in 5 countries. I lived in Japan, in Sweden, and Argentina, and my influence is Japanese. I have a lot of influence of Japanese culture in my background, so I'm really happy and grateful when I see a Japanese company growing here in Brazil, and we consider Japan as a strategic partner with great potential, and every time that a Japanese company grows in the state of São Paulo, to be honest, we celebrate a lot. This is the second reason why I'm so happy here. And we continue very optimistic despite we are going through a very complicated moment in Brazil and abroad. The tariffs that we are facing is quite difficult. It's hard for me to even think of figures and assess the impact. We have to see that happening in our everyday. Imagine a Caterpillar company. They are affected from day one, but I don't know how much verticalized they are, how horizontal they are, but if they stop producing machines, they stop buying the iron ore. So I have to see the chain as a whole, but in parallel we remain optimistic because of the numbers. As I mentioned, we had the target, we are at around 530 B. We had the goal to employ a lot of people. We have done that, generating jobs. We had the goal to start new businesses, so we have doing so. Only this year, 310,000 new companies. So I'm very optimistic. At the end of this third quarter, we'll see some impact in our sales in terms of the business, but I'm very optimistic and I'm positive that São Paulo will see great things. For your region, there are still great things to come for Pindamonhangaba. We cannot disclose. Ricardo can tell you more about it, but we have 2 or 3 ventures here. We're very well located, strategically speaking. Today we bet a lot on this industrial vocation of Pindamonhangaba. It's very close to Dutra Highway and very close to the ports, which facilitates exports. So I'm very happy, Glauco, very congratulations for the amazing work that Hitachi has been doing in the state of São Paulo. I'm a huge fan of what you do, so make sure you can celebrate and wait for the novelties that will come. I wish you a great event ahead. Welcome very much to the Secretary of Economic Development in the state of São Paulo, Jorge Lima, for your remarks and words. So to move on, we have a special message from the Ministry of Energy and Development, Alexandre Silveira. He couldn't be here, but he recorded a video. So let's watch the video. I'm very happy to talk to these Hitachi Energy's event participants. It's an innovative company that for more than 7 decades has been contributing to the Brazil's development. I have been to the Guarulhos unit, and reaffirm our common share when it comes to energy transition. The new factory of high voltage transformers in Pindamonhangaba represents another progress towards that, and it's a huge achievement for the country and for the sector. Brazil has an important role because of our clean energy grid and renewable. Transformers are then key for the energy grid's operations, and currently this progress of our data centers. In the era of AI, data centers depend heavily on high voltage transformers to more stability and high efficiency. This is a promising market here in the present and also for the future. To continue moving forward, we have the challenge to expand and modernize our transmission and distribution grids. In that sense, investments of private sector are key so we can continue promoting this energy transition. So these numbers of this unit benefit the area of Pindamonhangaba, and 1 billion reais have been put in investment and more than 2,000 jobs have been generated. This represents benefits and income for people that dream, work, and have their own business. In that way, the sustainability path will consolidate even more in Brazil, coupling with economic development and social benefits. It's the private initiative working hand in hand with the federal government to implement public policies that will favor energy transition in a fair, equitable, and inclusive ways. This is the example that we're giving to the world. It's a model that we'll defend during COP30 in Belém. I wish you a great event, and thank you very much. So we heard the message of the Ministry of Energy and Development, of Mines and Energy, Mr. Alexandre Silveira. So now the Vice President of the Republic and Minister of Development, Industry, Commerce and Services, Mr. Geraldo Alckmin, who unfortunately could not be here with us today due to an extraordinary ministerial summons made by President Lula, and as it was mentioned before, he will travel to Mexico, but before all that, he made sure to leave his message for all of us. Dear friends, it's a great joy to salute you today that participate in the initial works of this great factory of Hitachi that believes in Brazil for the past 70 years, investing and generating jobs. Through Ricardo Pionino, Mayor, and Glauco Freitas, I share this warm welcome to everyone, to all the leaders, workers, business people. This new unit in our dear Pindamonhangaba represents this investment of 1 billion reais to produce a power transformer production, and it is strategic investment for Brazil. There is no transition without transmission. Hitachi, therefore, will be a great partner so we can advance to promote energy transition, decarbonization of our energy grid, which is one of the cleanest in the world. This great venture will produce 400 direct jobs, 1,800 indirect jobs, and generate income for the municipality and to the Paraíba's Valley region through credit lines, professional training programs, and also stimulate to decarbonization of our economy. The federal government will continue supporting this important sector that innovates, exports, and creates opportunities for many Brazilians. I would like to congratulate Hitachi. You can count on us. So after hearing such important, inspiring words, I would like to move on to the President of Mr. André do Parado.
Bom dia a todos.
Good morning, everyone.
Dia.
Good morning.
É uma honra muito grande
It's a great honor
para mim também
for
estar
me
aqui
to be here
hoje nesse dia tão importante
in such an
no nosso estado de
important
São Paulo,
day for the state of
nosso
São
Vale do
Paulo,
Paraíba,
for in our Paraíba's
principalmente
Valley,
para a nossa
and
querida e
especially
amada
for
cidade
our
de Pindamonhangaba.
dear and beloved city of
Nosso
Pindamonhangaba.
secretário de Desenvolvimento Econômico,
Our Secretary of Economic Development, Jorge Lima,
para vocês que nós
has already mentioned
nos atrasamos,
that
porque estávamos
we
necessitando de
were a
8
bit
horas em São
late
Paulo, mas
because
por não ter teto,
we couldn't have an area to land.
São Paulo. Mas
Actually,
mesmo assim,
we
eu não
couldn't take
desisti.
off from São Paulo.
Pedi ao meu pessoal
But I
da
didn't give up. I
assessoria
asked my
que
team
insistisse.
to insist
Insistisse muito,
a lot,
né? E a gente esperasse para que o
and we
teto
would wait
abrisse
for the
e nós
opportunity to take
pudéssemos
off, and we
estar
could
aqui.
be here today.
Eu falo isso,
And I say
para
that
mim também é muito
because for me
simbólico.
it's
Eu tenho certeza
quite
que
symbolic,
todos que moram aqui na cidade de Pindamonhangaba,
just like for those that
ou
live
para
here in the
os
city of
dirigentes
Pindamonhangaba,
públicos dessa
and for the
cidade,
public managers
no dia
of
de
the
hoje.
city, and the
Eu digo
importance of
isso
the day
porque
today.
há 8 anos
I say
atrás,
that because 8 years ago,
juntamente com o ex-prefeito que está aqui
together
presente,
with the former
na
mayor
época, candidato
who
a
is present
prefeito,
here,
8 anos e meio atrás,
8.5
Dr.
years,
Israel,
Dr.
juntamente com o
Israel,
atual prefeito,
together with the
Ricardo
current mayor,
Piorino,
Ricardo Piorino,
naquela oportunidade,
had that opportunity,
ex-vereador dessa cidade,
Cal,
hoje,
the former
subprefeito aqui no distrito de Moreira
politician here
César,
today,
Magrão, que está aqui,
Magrão
vereador da
as
cidade,
well,
Regininha.
Regininha, and then a lot of people.
Fizemos o último
We
comício
had
da
the
candidatura
last
do
event
ex-prefeito Dr. Israel
for
aqui nesse bairro,
the former
nesse distrito,
mayor here
distrito de
in
Moreira
this
César,
neighborhood,
que é
Moreira
praticamente
César,
uma cidade.
which is pretty much like a city.
Naquela oportunidade,
And that
nós
opportunity,
assumimos alguns compromissos
we forged
do
some
palanque
commitments
que
when
nós
we were
daríamos
discussing
outro rumo para
that would
Pindamonhangaba.
give
Nós
another
colocaríamos Pindamonhangaba
opportunity for
presidente
Pindamonhangaba. We
Marco
would
Maior,
put Pindamonhangaba,
vereador,
President Marco
presidente
Maior,
da Câmara Municipal. Nós
the
daríamos
city councilor
novos
representatives
caminhos para a
would
cidade de Pindamonhangaba,
offer new possibilities for the
novos
city of
rumos,
Pindamonhangaba,
novos sonhos.
new
E
dreams.
depois de 8 anos
And
e
after
meio,
8.5 years,
tenho a felicidade,
I'm
Piorino,
happy,
você que é
Piorino,
prefeito
you
hoje,
are the current
ao lado do
mayor,
Dr. Israel, que por
together
8
with
anos foi
Dr.
prefeito dessa
Israel,
cidade,
who was the mayor of the
que nós
city.
assumimos há 8 anos e meio atrás. Pinda está
And
vivendo hoje.
now we can see it happening right now.
Momento único.
It's a
Cidade que mais
unique
cresce
moment. It's the city that
na região do Vale do
grows a
Paraíba.
lot in the Paraíba's
Cidade
Valley.
que nós assumimos 8 anos e meio
80.5 years ago,
um orçamento de 300
we had 300 million reais in budget, and today we have more than 1 billion and 100 million reais.
Isso cai do céu?
This doesn't come from nowhere, this huge growth.
Isso
No,
não cai do céu.
this doesn't come
Isso é
out of the blue.
trabalho
This is
políticas públicas
hard work involving
arrojadas, pensando no futuro
public
dessa
policies,
cidade.
thinking of the future of the
E
city.
hoje a gente vê os
And
indicadores
today we can see
desta
the
cidade,
indicators and
os desafios que foram enfrentados.
see how great they are and the challenges, and we can see a new Pindamonhangaba, another city with more quality
Uma
of
cidade de
life, a
oportunidades,
city full of
uma cidade
opportunities,
onde a população
A
passou a
city
ter
in
orgulho
which
de
the
dizer que
population
mora em
is proud
Pindamonhangaba.
to say
Uma
that
cidade que estava estagnada,
is
com
from
potencial
Pindamonhangaba. It
Aí
was
que eu digo
stagnated,
que a
and
política séria,
I
correta,
say
de
that
grupo,
a correct
com
group
planejamento, ela
politics work.
funciona. E assim aconteceu,
And
Dr.
that's
Israel.
how, Dr.
Em
Israel,
8
it
anos do seu
happened. In
mandato.
8 years
Não
of your
pensamos
term,
dia sequer
we
para
didn't
melhorar a infraestrutura
rest
dessa
one
cidade,
single
a
day
saúde,
to
a
improve the
educação,
future of this
a questão
city,
tecnológica,
health,
abrir as
technology,
portas, estender tapete vermelho,
to welcome
tapete vermelho
everyone,
para
a red
empresas
carpet
pudessem
for
vir e
companies
serem
to
abraçadas
come
pelo
and be
município,
embraced by the
como está
municipality,
acontecendo hoje
as is
com
happening
Itachi
here at
Glauco,
Itachi
tenho
Energy.
certeza
Glauco, I'm positive
vários
that
fatores
many
para você
factors
decidir que
for
essa
you to
empresa
decide that this company
instalasse hoje
would
aqui
be
na
installed
cidade de
here in the
Pindamonhangaba
city
foram
of Pindamonhangaba were
Essas
essential.
parcerias
Many
com o
partnerships
município,
with
tenho
municipalities,
certeza, com o
and
Dr.
I'm
Israel
positive
que
with
iniciou esse
Dr.
processo. Hoje,
Israel
nosso atual prefeito
and
era
our
vice, Dr.
current
Israel era parceiro.
mayor, who was
Hoje,
the
o prefeito Ricardo
vice
Piorino,
from
promete
our
que
former
ele
mayor.
para
You
que
welcomed
vocês
you
estivessem
all to be
Essa
here.
parceria
This partnership with our Secretary of Development, representing Tarcísio de Freitas, our governor. You've heard in the words of our secretary, people realize the numbers he mentioned. I didn't hear a round of applause, but the state of São Paulo at this moment has a private investment that is hired underway of more than 500 billion reais to the state of São Paulo. We have many companies from all different areas installing their premises in the state of São Paulo. Well, São Paulo has always been the machine, because we have a governor who has been making difference mainly with the private sector, believing that with the public sector we will bring development, that we will bring the collection to invest more in education, health, as we are doing now with public health in the state of São Paulo. The governor created a São Paulo SUS table, and our state of São Paulo is adding what the national SUS cannot cover. So we are paying here. How? Creating this revenue detachment that was approved, allowing the government to invest only in this last year 6 billion reais extra in public health and Santa Casas and hospitals. And what is saving our hospitals is the SUS table. Why? Because the national SUS, once it has a frozen table, pays for a procedure, a delivery, 443 reais for the hospital. This is not enough to cover the expenses of this labor. It's not possible to pay for that for professionals that work with that in a philanthropic hospital. So the state government comes and creates our table. Governor Tarcísio adding 1,773 reais extra in order to have this delivery at Santa Casa. And this is saving our hospitals. And you say, well, what is he talking about with such an energy transformer, a new company, mixing health and public health in this opening? I'm talking about that just to mention an example of a serious management, and companies are coming here and they are not abandoning São Paulo, because here we have legal security. Here we have one special thing that companies search for: planning, where the company, the business person knows what to expect from the government. It's a government that will work for the state to develop. And this is the characteristic of Governor Tarcísio de Freitas when he was part of the Ministry of Infrastructure and today as our governor. And that's why the state of São Paulo has the highest budget in history based on the actions from the governor, including a management reform in the state of São Paulo, reducing the size of the machine and making tributary transaction, and, well, many actions in order to increase the collection so there will be resources and infrastructure for the state. The state, together with a public and private partnership, we have agreements with 350 billion. Added to that 500, it's almost 1 trillion reais of investment in the following years. Why? Because we have conditions with the new budget, the new modeling that is placed in the state of São Paulo to bring private investments together with public investments that increased. Not only that, we invest in health, education, infrastructure, roads, for the outflow of our production in the entire state of São Paulo. And it's for me to be here at Pindamonhangaba and as the president of the assembly with all the authorities here in and the population of Pindamonhangaba, we would like to embrace Itachi and thank them for choosing the state of São Paulo for this modern plant, innovative plant that thinks and will think about sustainability. So we have energy transition, and that's what we want for our state. So Hitachi, welcome. You who are responsible for this company that is so important for the world. We are pretty happy to have it here at Pindamonhangaba. And for sure, other companies will follow Hitachi because Hitachi is a reference, and it's our pride to be here as citizens of this state, to have the opportunity to thank from the bottom of our heart. I was the mayor of my city, small city, here at the Valley of Paraíba, Guararema, and when I was the mayor and we transformed our city, we did that and transformed everything. We opened the doors for the private initiative. We need to put the red carpet because you generate job opportunities, you generate the richness to generate financial resources so we can invest in health and education for our population. So we have to be side by side with the companies that believe in our country and in the state of São Paulo. Thank you very much and congratulations, Itachi. Thank you, Ricardo Piorino, Dr. Israel. Thank you, Jorge Lima, who represents our Governor Tarcísio. We are here together, executive power with harmony to generate and develop our state of São Paulo that has a great potential, and we are attentive to the entire movement we have here in Brazil. So we can reinforce the state of São Paulo with our work. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Itachi. Welcome.
Muito obrigada, deputado André do Prado. Vocês estão gostando?
Thank you, André do Prado. Thank you very much. And now it's a moment that I was waiting and pretty anxious about it. You know that I love to, journalists love to ask questions and talk to interesting people for those who matter. And that's the moment. After such important messages, we are going to one of the greatest highlights of our morning. We are going to begin the discussion panel, Journey to COP30. What is the importance of the private sector and its investments to achieve a just energy transition? That's a question that we expect to answer. This debate is especially relevant because it's just like a spoiler. We want to anticipate conversations, discussions, provocations, and those will be discussed at COP30. November is pretty close in Belém do Pará. This event that will be historical for Brazil and for the world. And while we are talking here, there was a magic that happened here. We have our seats, and it's the moment to invite my partners because I don't want to be on the stage alone. I have the honor to invite our panelists. Mr. Tadini, Executive President of the Infrastructure. Good morning, welcome. I would like to invite our host, Mr. Glauco Freitas, President of Hitachi Energy in Brazil. I also invite Ms. Elbia Ganun, CEO of AB Olec, the Brazilian Association of Aeolic Energy, and she will be the one responsible to talk about the subject at COP30. And to finish, I invite Mr. Wilson Ferreira Jr. He's the former president of large companies of the sector, RGE, CTFL, and Vibra, and the current president of the managing department of Matrix Energy. Well, you may take your seats. I will also take my seat here. We have water and feel comfortable. Hitachi Energy, global leader in electrification and power grid technologies, begins a new and important chapter in its history in Brazil. Starting in 2028, not a long time to go, this space will house the company's new plant, which will represent the state-of-the-art in the production of transformers, connecting high technology, productive efficiency, and commitment to sustainability. Production will be focused on serving large-scale projects in the area of transmission, generation, and distribution of electrical energy, both in the national and international markets. The demand for electricity is growing exponentially, as we've heard so far. Therefore, urgent investments in the development and modernization of the grid is essential to meet economic, environmental, social priorities. Amid this relentless pursuit, we have people, the environment, companies, governments, and everything is interconnected. As I said earlier, COP30 is around the corner, which will be taking place in Belém, and specialists herein will share this mission to answer the following question: what is the importance of the private initiatives and its investments to achieve a just energy transition? We are all prepared. Can we start? So please. In this first part of questions, the subject is the role of private initiative in energy transition, and we are going to talk how they can speed up the adoption of renewable energy and technologies and clean technologies, talking about examples of innovation and social environment impact. So I will start with the event host, the country managing director of Hitachi, Glauco Freitas, to whom on behalf of everyone here, I want to thank for the opportunity. The importance of being here, a moment that is so important for Hitachi and for the country. Thank you very much. So here's a question for you. Glauco, how can multinational energy companies transfer technology and attract foreign investment to accelerate the energy transition here in Brazil? Good morning, everyone, once again. It's a great joy to be here and share the panel with 3 references from the market. Elbia, she has an amazing CV, but she is responsible for the increase of the matrix with aeolic energy generation with more than 10% of the matrix, thanks to this warrior who's here. To Wilson, a reference that I've always had, and one of those responsible for the sector to be this benchmark. And Avia Newton, that I met recently 2 years ago when I got closer to Abdibi, a person with such an amazing intelligence, capable of articulating things, despite the fact that he doesn't support the best team in soccer. Natalia, let's set a context here for those who are attending our event. Brazil is a reference in the energy system it has. We need to acknowledge that it's one of the beauties of Brazil, and only a few people know about that. Today, 97% of the territory is connected by SIM, the National Interconnected System, and the last state will be Roraima, that will be connected in 3 months, and with Hitachi Energy equipment. This is the model that the US, Europe perceive, the interconnection of states and countries with a resilient and flexible grid. And the energy matrix from Brazil is mainly renewable, with more than 85% of its generation coming from renewable sources. So this beauty of Brazil, only a few people know and only few people understand. Having said that, I would like to position Hitachi in this world. Hitachi has the greatest installed base in the transmission of energy in Brazil and in the world, almost the double of our second major company. And in Brazil, it's present in structured projects for energy transmission that bring major blocks to the consumption center, Madeira, Itaipu, and Belo Monte. Besides that, I don't know if you know, but Hitachi is present in the aeolic parks with centralized energy in 40% of them with solutions or products, and 50% of solar parks. And that's the way private sector can contribute. And also investing where the demand for electricity increases exponentially. Due to the transformation of technology, and then I fit electrification per se, and artificial intelligence, and also energy transition. And as I don't have this capacity that the Milton Elder Wilson to speak in public, I made some notes. So I cannot forget to mention that the role of companies like Hitachi Energy, and I'm not being arrogant to say that only Hitachi does that, but the role of a company with the size of Hitachi is to transfer technology, is to form talents and the attraction of foreign capital. And with that, we are able to create an ecosystem that favors the adoption of renewable energies, energy efficiency, and clean technology. And when I serve major projects here in Brazil, I position the country as a strategic hub for solutions. I understand that this is the role of companies like Hitachi Energy. Perfect. Thank you very much, Glauco, for your answer. My next question is for Elbia Ganon. Elbia, thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to have each one of you. It's a great pleasure to ask these questions and hear your answers. Elbia, first of all, you have an important role in this moment, and are you anxious for COP30?
I'm used to that, but there is a huge responsibility. The world is paying attention to Brazil. And regarding solar energy, what are the factors, in your opinion, that makes Brazil attractive to investors in renewables and new technologies? First of all, good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be in this beautiful event. Congratulations. Congratulations for the new factory. I'd like to congratulate our colleagues here, friends from a long time. And when the mayor was talking, Glauco, I was thinking that Brazil cannot and shouldn't miss the opportunity to industrialize itself in the 5.0 industry. We have had many attempts of industrialization in the past, maybe this is the moment that is quite timely for Brazil, because Brazil has natural resources that are able to promote something key for this new economic model, for this new society and this new era, which is the electricity era. Brazil has many clean energy and renewables, especially when it comes to wind and solar energy. But let's remember that Brazil has also a renewable energy mix because of hydroelectric plants that represent 60% of the energy that we have. So that's why Brazil can provide and promote a true energy transition, showing the global energy that this is possible. And when I see our country, is much more than just a transition. It is truly a energy transformation, because you can transform your economy, your society through energy as you attract new factories, investment, just like Pindamonhangaba, which is attracting this investment and had this effect on production chain. So when we look at this energy transition concept, you also see a challenge, but when it comes to Brazil, it's an opportunity, because we have this great capacity to produce clean and renewable energy for energy production. And we might not be certain about many things in life. As we become mature, we realize that we don't know much about life, but there are two paths that are well defined. We'll have a new model of society based on a decarbonized economy and with more technology. And since it is technological, we'll depend heavily on electricity and also on renewables. And Brazil is the solution for this new economic, social, and production models. So we have everything that we can to help the planet to face this huge challenge. Thank you very much. Quite interesting what you said. In time of uncertainties, we feel that the world wasn't like that a few years ago, but we know for sure that this way is important. So I'd like to thank the presence of Venilton. I would like to ask a question. So, what are the main actions that we should expect and demand from the state to boost the participation of energy sector in this energy transition moment in Brazil? Good morning, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really happy to be here with you. I'd like to congratulate Hitachi Energy. I'm quite happy for the invitation, and I'd like to thank everyone, my dear friends that are here today from a partnering class entity, and Wilson, a long-term partner, for a friend of mine for decades, and he was the president of ABGP, and we worked together in other moments. And Glauco, of course, our member of the board, with great participation in our structures and the programs that are developed by our entity. So, answer your question. We have many technical issues that my friends that are here know much more than me when it comes to certain peculiarities. It's important to mention what you mentioned about the state action. This is a plural concept of the entities that comprises. I'm not talking about the federations, but this higher structure, which is the representation of our republic. Nowadays, our republican structure, executive, legislative, and the judiciary systems, we have a problem of mutual understanding. We have actions that are contradictory between the executive, legislative, and the judiciary. And when we talk about the action of the state, the first thing that is crucial is to have a better organization of this power so we can truly have the power of the state. Nowadays, the number of frictions we have makes it impossible to have in the budget structure and when defining priorities and planning a clarity that is important to define medium and long-term investments. I'm the president of an infrastructure entity. We talk about investments that will last 20, 30, 35 years. So an important sign to define priorities coming from the state for its priorities is regarding its budget structure. And it's impossible to have in this kind of structure that we have today around 58 billion of parliament bills against one budget of the union that is not 25. Something is wrong. So it's pointless to have a planning from the executive if there is no effective interaction with the legislative power. This is something key. Why do I say that? Because I always try to highlight that there is no infrastructure that will work on its own without private initiative. It's crucial for the development and investments to have the participation of private sector when it comes to the execution, expansion of this participation of the entities that receive this energy when it comes to energy transition. But there is no infrastructure without the state. The state is an important vector when it comes to regulation, monitoring of execution, and in the priority definition process. So, if we have in the federal budget a budget for investments in priority projects, for example, PAC inside the PPI investment and public and private partnerships in different states. For example, the federal government is here, they will be in the Santos Tunnel. If I don't have budget, so I can have in the federal projects the other aspect, but many people talk about PPPs, but there is no PPP if there is a P missing. So when it comes to the federal government, they mentioned a lot, not only in this administration, but in the previous ones, this private and public. There is no PPP, that's why we don't have highways, that's why we don't have this delay when it comes to public-private partnerships. Structuring projects that are being delayed due to the lack of a conception like that. So when we talk about legal certainty, we're not talking about this one-off regulation that is important, that we made a lot of progress when we structure projects and when we plan better. If we don't have elements to execute this planning and give the wrong sign regarding where the state can be the inducer. So I just want to give you this backdrop, this background information, which is necessary for any further analysis when it comes to energy transition and where the state has this important role. Thank you very much. So let's go to the second moment of our questions. The theme is the private sector contribution for global climate goals. So how private investment helps us to achieve decarbonization targets and goals and climate adaptation aligned to COP30, including emission reduction and energy efficiency. For the second moment, I'd like to hear Wilson Ferreira Jr. Before anything, I would like to share that I always heard about you before understanding the importance and your reference when it comes to energy. My father worked many years together with Wilson, so I grew up with this conversation here at home. So it's a great pleasure to get to know you in person. Really nice. The pleasure is mine, Natalia. First of all, good morning, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank for the invitation. I'd like to congratulate not only Glauco de Freitas, but the entire Hitachi's team for this another moment. This is a great example of private sector working together to promote energy transition. This is something that shows how confident they are in their sector. When it comes to this Brazil's perspective, I think now I have a question. So I shared this background information about my life, but the question is how we can balance this return to shareholders coupled with this commitment to deliver social environmental results. Just one important thing, private investment is how we show trust. I was the president of ABGB and from Abradi, and as today I'm a Brazil Association. So I worked in many associations, so the private sector must contribute to these legal milestones. So the possibility for the associations, and I know that each one of you has this ability and you can offer this contribution, so we can have legal frameworks that are stable and can attract indeed private investment. And I always like to give this example. We have conducted a research who are the 100 biggest economic agents in the world among companies. The 70 biggest ones among 170 are companies, 30 are countries. So the companies are already bigger than countries with their revenue and the countries with their GDPs. So we think that the government must invest. Well, governments, of course, must define public policies and divided by sectors, and its agency must be a state one, and after here we should foster private investment, just like what happened with Hitachi. Well, with Glauco. This is one thing. The second important thing is this. Returns or return rates will come from the economic assessment of this level of attractiveness of projects. So in the energy sector, I think it's the best example when it comes to infrastructure. There is a ministry with a tradition with good policies. Our sectorial model was inspiring and inspire other ones. Our National Energy Agency was one of the first ones, very transparent with this public examination process. We enforce regulation as well, so we must ensure that they are truly state agencies that can do the work. This is something key. They are finding it difficult to work today because the budget is quite constrained, so they are kind of limited to do their work when it comes to regulation or enforcement. So this is an absurd. We shouldn't allow things like that. The agency is a cruel body for private investment. Investment in infrastructure, we shouldn't forget, it's something that is not for this current administration. We invest for 20, 30 years. This is the characteristics. So we are married with the country, not with a specific administration or political party. So it's a stable sector, there is no interference regarding different administrations. So this is the level of trust that investors have, to have this ability, the return won't come in 10 years. We'll need more time, but returns will come. So good public policies, tradition should look back to the past and see that this is a sector that attracted investments, and it's the case of the energy sector. It is a sector, since we defined these bids in 2024, it has been a huge success. I remember your father, your conversation. Every year we had to tell people if you're going to have some problem regarding energy. So since 2024, the sector has been going so problems since 2021, and we didn't have any. Why we don't have that? Because all the problems, all the bids when it comes to the generation, transmission, all the concessions, the regulation fostered these investments, and we didn't have any energy rationing as we used to have in the past, where we had to tell the population almost every year if we are going to have some energy rationing or not. So with these investments and these companies like this Japanese company here, reality changed. So this involves our equipment suppliers and investors. It has been a huge success, and I will conclude that this, for the moment, model to be stable doesn't mean that it won't change. It has to evolve as time passes by. And we have two bills that will define this evolution of this legal framework. So they were stopped, and I received some great news that one of the presidents was called, so we can have the commission regarding these executive orders that we are working, all these provisional measures in our Congress. So it's necessary for us to evolve. The model must evolve, but the investments have been happening, but they can happen in a better way, in a more stable and positive ways for investors and also for our country. Thank you. I thank you. We thank you. Well, what a lecture, right? That we can see here. So I would like to hear you, Albert, as special participants for COP30. In which way, according to your view, the initiative from the private sector can contribute in a more effective way to reach these climate goals? What are the ones are priorities in this current context?
This is the interesting aspect. When Brazil hosts COP30, it innovates those who were sent, at least a great part of people, 1, 2, and Brazil has 30 people sent to COP30. They are associated to certain sectors of the economy and the society. So we have the one for energy, for gender, for Amazon cities. And why this number of people? Because we are going to a copy that is the one from implementation. It's copy 30, 30th edition. Many others have happened, and this is my 11th edition. And the other COPs, they were talking about the government. The government is responsible for negotiating, presenting, and making agreements. But those who will implement what was defined, what was decided, is the society. And then you have a simplified model of society in which we are talking about the productive sector and families. And last but not least, companies and consumers. COP30 will be the COP of implementation, in which many projects that were thought and discussed need to be implemented. So there's no hypothesis that you are going to implement and reach a climate goal if you don't bring the productive sector, if you don't bring consumers to the game. So it is a call Our role is to call the productive sector, it's to call the society to implement that, to implement an economic model that is adjusted to the needs of the planet, a decarbonized economic model. But our role is pretty important when we bring to investors and to the society also that to have energy transition is a good business. And to have energy transition, fair energy transition, is even better because you have an inclusive transition, you include the society. Our major role is this, and there's no hypothesis that you are going to go to this journey without the productive sector. And here the productive sector is mainly private. We have the state and the role highlighted by Tadini and Wilson, but who will implement will be the productive sector, will be the private sector, and that is a good business. Amazing. We can expect a copy that is beyond theory. Great. Glauco, back to you. I want to hear you about the following. How can the performance of private companies, and in the case of Hitachi Energy, can boost Brazil's decarbonization goals, aligning investments with international commitments like those of COP30? Thank you, Natalia. If I was to answer your question in a short and blunt way, it would be with concrete investments in energy infrastructure, digitalization, and technological innovation. But I would like to get this connection with COP30 and add something to Wilson's talk. Wilson, you are more than correct. The legal framework of the Brazilian electric sector and the legal security, besides the planning to have a PDR, a pot, allows us to make decisions, investment decisions as such. This $200 million investment represents 15% of an investment that is being done by the company when increasing the production capacity here in Brazil. And why in Brazil and not in the US? Because Brazil offers you that. So this beauty of the electric sector has to be highlighted. And considering that, considering the question you asked about COP, as Elbia mentioned, COP30 that will be held in Pará at the end of November is the COP of implementation. So we are searching for an execution plan for something that has been agreed since Paris in the last 29 COPs. But there is something else to be added. The COP presidency established as a goal to transform and guarantee that transition, the energy transition, is fair, inclusive, and meaningful. And Hitachi Energy believes that this only can happen if I can assure access to electricity, access to energy. Electricity and the access leverages industries, communities, and with that, production, innovation, and social well-being. I'm going to give you a couple of numbers that calls my attention. It was a study from EAA. 2020, electricity was 20% of the grid. And then in 2050, it's going to be 50%. And our grids do not follow this development. And I need to assure that my grid is prepared. Remember, I've mentioned the Brazilian system is a world reference. It's a benchmark. It is a model to be followed, but it's not the ideal. I've reached this point, but what about that? We were in an event last week, and Jean Paul Prat, a minister, said that we shouldn't treat a transition as energy transition, but here in Brazil as energy evolution. And I believe that's amazing because I haven't thought about that, about how advanced we are. So when I say, when I bring solutions that reduce the carbon footprint, that increase energy efficiency with existing infrastructure, that allow me to add renewable energy to the system, and taking that to those who need, because it's not enough to have energy enough, but I need to take it to those who need it. So when I can bring solutions that, just like the curtailment with intermittent sources, now in Brazil we have more than 30% of our energy matrix with intermittent sources. I need solutions, flexible solutions for that. I need facts, I need power quality. So this format of contributing, a company like Hitachi that has technology, you can contribute. Another important data that I was forgetting, how access to energy changes people's life, the life of communities. And network with low reliability has the potential to reduce in 2% the GDP of developing countries. And on the other hand, when I increase the consumption in 1%, I have the possibility to increase the GDP of these countries in 0.8%. So this is the role. And I don't bring only energy, I bring a foreign capital, but I also bring to the community access, reduction, and decarbonization of the energy system. I was amazed by this data that relates energy, the GDP, and everything. Amazing. Now, my question to Venilton Tadid, so we can finish. I want to hear which are the sectors in which the private initiative can contribute in energy. I couldn't hear the beginning of your question. Again, please. Which are the sectors in infrastructure in which the private initiative can collaborate in energy transition? Great. Just to mention my previous answer, that is essential that the background I gave has this matter about budget and fiscal. For the investment to move forward, as it was mentioned by, we need structured companies for that. And what's happening is that we are badly applying in the current system and investment. So we need that, and it's not connected for developing programs. And that has to be pretty clear. There's no country in the world in which we have levels like such here in Brazil. A second point is that based on the Brazilian frailty, we have a temporary measure removing fiscal incentives for infrastructure debentures in segments that in the past it was bigger than the BNDES. And in the first half, it was 75 billion. That, besides all other issues that effectively, as I mentioned, if there's no rupture in the structure of investment, I usually say that it's essential to have the private initiative participation. Today, it represents 80% of all investments, but it doesn't bring the loved one back or anything. I need to change the matrix. And this is not going to be done just with private resources. There's no railroad with a negative cash flow invested by the private capital. If they did, it's because they didn't do the math, just like Galeão don't had, just like other projects, other federal projects had. So we managed to mitigate risk, and many segments evolved. Like you've mentioned, what can contribute in energy transition is the transport matrix. I need to reduce, to increase decarbonization for the sector. It can be through tires or increasing the railroad structure. A lot of people say that it has a bias for the road transportation. But anyways, it's low for the structure we have. When I increase, I have to have better supply to the railroad. We don't have cargo transportation through railroad. We don't have long distance transportation for passengers. And when you are developing an entire network, well, there's no way from a return point of view, the private participation in projects like that, if there's no role from the state. The train between cities. And Tarcísio knows it. He did important projects in the federal sector. As the Santos Tunnel, we have sanitation that is essential in the energy transition. It's a highly pollutant structure, 50% for the sewage treatments not done. This has an effect on the weather that is quite complex, and we have transportation and the entire segmentation that has speed except railroad transportation. And even decarbonization, it is slow and only moves forward based on the electric vehicle, in which our structure that has a positive infrastructure is biofuel. But now, to finish, when we talk about energy transition, these two segments that I've mentioned, of course, the renewable energy segment and so on, before talking about transition, we need to understand why we want the energy transition. From the strategic point of view, what is the participation we want to have in that? I'm a great player in relation to energy production, and I'm a probable candidate to attract our data centers in Brazil, those who consume a lot of electric power, mainly electric power and water. So this is pretty important. We can be a huge center, and this will allow us from the global value chain point of view to enter with this renewable energy, having products that are green and reindustrializing in order to penetrate in the global chains of value, because they will be changed mainly now, this movement of deglobalization, as it was mentioned by the US government. So repeating, energy transition is important for people, for you to have a renewable energy, but it's important on the strategic point of view for your international intercession, adding your renewable energy, and more than that, to add your products that will be green, that will be done with renewable energy here, to be input in the global value chain that we have been out of them for 30 years. Those are the key points. Thank you, Benilton. We talked about AI. When I saw this information of using electric energy and water, when I use a chatbot, I was no longer very kind to it, because I remember that if I say good morning, good afternoon, thank you, I'm wasting energy. Isn't that right? Well, the conversation is amazing, but we have reached the end of our final panel and ask for final considerations. Elbia, please. Well, out of everything that we've commented here, we need to collect a couple of key points. Brazil is facing a great opportunity to bring COP, to have a good discussion. This COP has this characteristic implementation phase. It left the office of the government, it goes to the audience, to the society. We are the ones who will implement it. So we have this mission of translating this language. And when we translate this language, there is something pretty important. At the Dubai COP 2022, there was this paper, pretty important paper from us, to increasing threefold the investments in renewable energy and twofold of efficiency energy. Just like you don't say goodbye, you are being efficient. So in this trajectory of having an increase of threefold and double the investments in energy efficiency, we added Brazil. We placed Brazil as one of the most important countries to promote and provide what you brought in your initial talk, energy solutions for this transition and this great transformation that the society is going through. We highlight the important role, not as investors, but the creator of basis policies that are necessary for the investor, the private investor, to follow a certain pathway. If these bases are created, we have a regulatory base for that. And in that sense, well, Brazil is moving forward. And Geraldo Alckmin, our dear vice president, he is piloting a great green industry project. And we need that. Major projects and regulatory apparatus, because investors are here, like Hitachi and other investors, ready and eager to invest. So we are moving towards a good trajectory. So let's be a little bit faster so we won't miss the train. Thank you. Thank you, Elbia. Now, Venilton Tadini, thank you for your presence once again, and please, your final words. Thank you once again. I have three aspects that I would like to comment, and they come from matters that I've mentioned. If there's no integrated planning, we will, of course, move forward, but we will always go in the stop and go. This lack of timing to perform investment. Well, I've had that in the second PND. Things are delayed, move forward in other segments, and that doesn't bring the dynamic, the economic dynamic that economy needs. Those things need to be articulated, and those who articulate this structure is not the private sector. Those who give the sign is the audience. The private invests, they have the motto of leveraging that, and it's the one that promotes innovation. But without the assurance from the north of the state, we lack, well, that's what I say. This is a ghost train. And how can we have the blue level of infrastructure. We have calls for 500 projects, and they have 750 billion in the sector, the private sector, which is the sign that I'm giving when I remove the fiscal incentives from the debentures of infrastructure that were placed by the government to develop the investment funding due to TOP that is pretty expensive at the National Development Bank. And the withdrawal that is in the same temporary measure of those documents that are part from the BNDES, and another important player that fosters the investment. 11 billion of these titles, of these bonds, and we will have problems if we don't continue with that. And that affects not only the companies in the sanitation area, but also electric power and transportation and logistics. And that generates a lack of coordination due to the return ratio of the project. This type of thing, well, there's no one seeing and having a systemic point of view of that. For instance, we don't have a follow-up of the PAC performance because the structure is not proper on the technical point of view, but as it should be mainly for the projects that we have there, not only federally speaking, but also the ratio that are leading the same projects at the same time. And why PAC is not moving forward? Well, because the resources are no longer available. And those PPPs are different other incentives that generate. Nobody talks about the Safra, the crop plan and everything, or the renegotiation of any agriculture debt. And that's pretty important, of course, but our priority here has to be the infrastructure. It is what makes the systemic costs cheap, not only for agriculture, but for us to recover our industry and to have an insertion, an international insertion that is efficient with the energy transition and a new role in the international system that if we don't take advantage of that, well, we shouldn't have a window. We have an open window, an open door that we have to take advantage of. Otherwise, another expensive cycle will be lost with the interest rate we have, with no alternatives to work on a fiscal adjustment through the uptake of growth and collection.
So thank you very much again for the opportunity. I'd like to congratulate Glauco for the amazing work that you have done in your team at Hitachi Energy. Thank you. So great to listen to words. Wilson Pereira Jr., thank you very much for your presence today. What are your final remarks? So, thank you, Natalia. Just want to share some final remarks so we can have a full understanding of this moment. The first thing is we are decarbonizing because we have carbonized too much. So energy transition is exactly that. We are emitting twice what the planet can absorb, and we need to include 2 million people more. In the next years, we will reach about 10 million inhabitants that will consume energy. Everyone will consume energy, electric energy. The way for decarbonization is electric energy, but it's not the only one. And this is a message that is important that we have to deliver during COP30. Brazil, different from the other countries, our biggest challenge is illegal deforestation. So if you do this, we'll reduce our emissions by 50%. This is something that we have to remember as Brazilian society. We have to contribute towards that. We are already an example of sustainable power grid with more than 90% of renewables. We're going to replace certain things, diesel by natural gas, but our biggest challenge is regarding deforestation. The third important thing is related to COP30. Deming, some of you know him. He's the guy that defined the quality programs. He would say this: if you don't measure, you cannot manage. So truly, we have many countries that on a voluntary basis declared a emission reduction, but we're not measuring how much. So this COP is 10 years after the Paris one that will present these very first outcomes. Again, country is all us. It's not Brazil that emits. The Brazilians in their different activities, regardless in the field, at home, in the industries. So we all have goals, targets, especially the big companies. And the goals should be met. We like that. Remember, each one of us has a target to reduce energy consumption. So that's what we need to do from now. Because again, we We are still in the carbonization route. We continue emitting CO2. Last year, we achieved 1.5 extra degree, which is the limit that we had defined during COP30 for 2050. In 2025, we have achieved that. So we have to do a lot. We are a model for that, but again, if we had to reduce our emissions by half, reducing illegal deforestation of the Amazon rainforest is something that saves the planet. It increased Brazil's competitiveness. These were my takeaway messages. We need to decarbonize. This means we have to emit less CO2. We can wait for... We have to measure, all of us, each one of us, to see our contribution in terms of emission as a country. So as a society, we can demonstrate to the world our contribution to this important action to save mankind. Thank you. If you don't measure, you don't manage. This is a good sentence. Thank you very much. So to conclude, let's listen to our host, and I wish you again a lot of success with this new factory, this new unit that will bring benefits to the city, to everyone, to the entire country. I'm really proud to be here with you. Thank you, Natalia. Well, I just want to reinforce certain things that I said. The demand growth for electricity grows exponentially. This is a fact. I will just share some data regarding data center sector that Finito mentioned. There is a McKinsey research that suggests that the data center sector will consume 3 times more energy than what it consumes today by 2035. So let's assume that this research is wrong, and we would consume only 1.5 times more, because technologies evolve, so do chips, but we still don't have a grid to work with this demand. Brazil has a window of opportunity now, because the world sees the Brazil as a supply of 3 things: abundant, renewable, and cheap energy, which is these new industries, electro-intensive, between quotation marks, that they find green hydrogen, high electric mobility that Tajin mentioned, and also new technologies, for instance, wind, offshore wind power. Brazil shouldn't miss this opportunity. And as Senator Jean-Paul Prates mentioned, if you think about energy evolution, we have to work now so this network that we built, this system that we put together, will be more resilient, robust, flexible, interconnected, and smart. This is our job as a Hitachi company, to ensure that technology won't be the bottleneck for that. Technology shouldn't be the bottleneck. They can ensure that technology in short and medium term won't be a bottleneck for that. And Brazil has this favorable landscape. 24 PDE. Brazil is here from ANEL. It's one of the agencies that work with this PDE. PDE forecasts the growth of demand and also the growth of generation by 30% up to 2034. PD is the 10-year energy expansion plan in Brazil. Okay, so by 2034 we must have 320 gigawatts. So we need grids for that, transmission as well. As I said, I need to take renewable energy that is safe and accessible, which is this triangle of energy. I should take it to those that need, to consumers, to the local populations. Power, electricity, access to electricity boosts industries and communities. I will conclude with the data that I came across the other day, and I even mentioned to Natalia here. Modern grids reduce emissions, increase access, improve people's quality of life, and they also at the same time reduce the impacts of natural disasters caused by climate change. There is a UN study that suggests this. Safe and modern grids will increase global GDP by trillions of dollars by 2050 and also save millions of lives. Thank you. Okay, we have finished this amazing panel. Thank you again. I thank you for your participation. Elba Beganon, Wilson Ferreira Jr., Denilton Tadini, and Glauco Freitas. Please stay on stage because we're going to have an official photo with everyone before you go back to your seats. Because there are still great things to happen today. So let's take this official picture. The presence of these great references in the power sector.
Muito bom. Obrigada, gente.
Thank you very much.
Quantas, né? Provocações.
So we learned a lot of provocations, comments, points that we can follow during COP30,
sabendo o que a gente pode e deve esperar. Obrigada, gente.
knowing what we can expect from it.
Podem voltar, então,
Please go back to your
lugares,
seats.
né? Como eu falava aqui, então, de COP30,
As I mentioned, COP30, it can really change the planet. Private initiative is not just another participant. It is an important player for energy transition, bring innovation, investment, solutions that accelerate decarbonization, which is very urgent as we learned here together. We have also seen that it's essential for this transition to be fair, inclusive, ensuring that communities, workers, and historically less favored regions will benefit from clean energy progress. Today's dialogue reinforces that climate challenges cannot be faced in isolation. It is indeed the combination of effective public policies, business, corporate engagement, and social responsibility that will allow us to meet global goals and build a more sustainable and inclusive energy future. More than a moment of dialogue, COP30 will be an invitation for governments and societies to accelerate the necessary actions to reduce environmental impacts. And take that into account, we shouldn't forget to highlight this new Highlight Energies factory, an important milestone for strengthening the national productive chain and for technological progress in the sector. An initiative that will certainly contribute to generate new jobs, boost innovation, and consolidate Brazil as this main player in clean and sustainable energy. I also thank the audience, each one of you that came here today and was with us during all these presentations, and initiatives like this are key to foster dialogue and this joint construction of solutions for a better energy future. So, moving on, I mentioned you that we had more interesting things to come. It's a great pleasure that I invite on the stage now two executives that play an important role in this project, and they reveal to everyone the future Hitachi Energy Transformer Factory in Pindamonhangaba. So, this is an important moment, another one. I'd like to invite on stage Mr. Bruno Melis, General Director of Hitachi Energy's Transformer Business Unit. So, Bruno, come on stage.
convido também o senhor
and Mr. Alexandre Malveiro, Director of the Transformers Business Unit in South America at Hitachi Energy.
Sejam muito bem-vindos.
Gentlemen, you're very much welcome. Thank you.
Boa tarde a todos.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Bruno, tá pronto?
So Bruno, are you ready? Let's go.
Comigo.
With me. 1,
2,
3, 2, 1.
Uau, né?
Whoa!
Apenas uau. Mais um para nossa coleção do dia.
Another one for
Tava escuro aqui,
our
eu tava ali no cantinho
moment.
só
It was
observando, né,
dark. I
os
was
olhares.
just paying attention.
Muita gente
A
boquiaberta.
lot of
Que
people
momento,
flabbergasted.
senhores e
What a
senhoras.
moment,
Que
ladies and
momento.
gentlemen.
Que honra, né?
What an
Estarmos
honor to be
juntos
here,
aqui, presenciando esse
being the
lançamento,
witness of this
podendo ouvir, então,
moment,
conversas importantes, uma
listening
apresentação
to amazing
linda, uma
conversations,
projeção
a great
impressionante, incrível, verdadeiro
projection
espetáculo.
and spectacle.
Tô de volta agora ao
I'm back
palco,
to the
porque
stage
tenho mais um convite,
because
um
I have
convite para um
another
retorno aqui ao
invitation.
palco.
Alexandre Malveiro, the director of Transformers Business Unit in South America. He's going to give us further details. We are pretty excited to hear about the plant. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank all authorities and guests, our 1,700 employees we have watching online, and part of them will be representing us this afternoon. And it's a great satisfaction to welcome each of you in this special event for us. I would like to start expressing our deep gratitude to all guests, partners that accepted to be here with us today. The presence of each of you reinforce our strength and make us move forward. This gathering is only complete because we count on people who supported our purpose. So, welcome to this place. I would like to start talking about the company presence. We have been in Brazil for 70 years. Together we have a historical milestone in the construction of Transformers plant here in Pindamonhangaba. This plant is part of 1.2 billion reais that we announced at the end of the year when we celebrated our 7th anniversary. This project represents way more than just building walls and installing machines here in this region. It represents the trust in Brazil's potential, the generation of job opportunities, sustainable development, and innovation. I'm going to go back to sustainability soon. And our project aims at creating 450 direct job opportunities in the city of Pindamonhangaba, 1,800 people indirectly, besides the relevance for energy transition in Brazil. And it represents a great impact not only to Brazil but to the Vale do Paraíba. And through the promotion, training of local labor and partnership with teaching institutions and qualification training institutions. Our timeline is quite courageous, as you've seen. We are finishing the land movement. We have 800,000 square meters. We have 400 meters at the road and 2 kilometers of depth in our land. So we can even play golf if we wish to. And next month we start the civil construction with the selection of the construction company, and the conclusion will be in the 3rd quarter of 2028. When we establish this timeline, we are restating our long-term commitment with the social and the creation of a long-lasting legacy for the next generations. We have 46,300 square meters in the first phase. We will be manufacturing transformers similar to what we have in Guarulhos, and the plant will serve large-scale projects in transmission, generation, distribution of electric power. That will serve our national market as well as the international market following the high demand we have for energy. The unit represents a strategic milestone in the expansion of the company in Brazil, not only in Brazil, where we have the plant in Guarulhos, our plant in Blumenau in the state of Santa Catarina, but also other units in Latin America. And we are going to combine efficiency and the commitments with sustainability. The new plant will be totally integrated to a platform we have that is called Trafostar from Hitachi Energy that harmonizes all projects, processes, control measures, quality in all our units all over the world. And the expectation is that with this new plant here in Pindamonhangaba and the expansion of the Guarulhos unit that is happening currently, we almost double our capacity in Brazil. As I've mentioned, we talk about sustainability, COP30, what is our role, our responsibility. This plant will be an excellence center to gather efficiency and respect to the environment. We want to be an example of how we can grow in a sustainable manner, maintaining our resources and building a collective system. The processes are automated, modern infrastructure, and the Pindamonhangaba unit will follow the criteria for safety. And we are designing the plant to have the LEED certification. It's a leadership in energy and environmental design. It's granted to projects that are sustainable. And among the initiatives, you can read the use of low environmental impact during the construction, rainwater collection, renewable sources, natural lighting, and the management of waste and emissions control. Investment, as I've mentioned, and it was mentioned by some, we are located in a strategic place in the countryside of the city. It was a decision-making point. It's between São Paulo and Rio and close to two harbors that for logistics it's really important, Itaguaí and Santos. And this $160 million business, almost 900 million reais, it's based on the determination of all those who believed in our project. It is the symbol of the strength of a country that is also reinventing itself. They move forward and invest a lot. This is part of a global program of more than $9 billion, the largest of the sector in the world. And Hitachi is expanding its capacity not only to manufacture T&D, engineering, R&D, engineering to make the system more reliable, safety and resilient. I would like to thank all the authorities once again who supported us since the beginning, the local community of Pindamonhangaba, that since the beginning we were here with our former mayor. I cannot even say the great welcome we had here. I would like to thank everyone and every employee who made this dream reality with dedication, competence and passion. Today we celebrate an achievement of us all. This plant is not only a physical structure, it's a mark of progress for the next generations. And I wish this event will inspire new histories of success, more partnerships and good things. It's just the beginning of our journey that will contribute to strengthen economy, to leverage innovation and open space for a more promising future. Thank you very much. Hi. I would like to break the protocol now, if you allow me to. Despite all the considerations we did and everything, and going against the protocol, I would like to call two people on stage. I would like really to thank especially those two people. Bruno Melis, please. And the second person I would like to call Álvaro. There's just one. I know it. If someone can help me, he's 83.
Pretty little baby.
Eu chamo essas duas pessoas
I
aqui que são
call
duas
these
pessoas
two
que representam muito
gentlemen because they
a minha
represent
vida.
a lot
Bruno,
in my life.
há
Bruno,
3 anos eu
3
tenho
years
trabalhado
ago
com
I
ele.
have been working with
Sempre falo
him,
que
and
cada chefe que eu
I
tive
say
na minha
that
vida
every
foi uma
boss I
pessoa
had
muito
in
especial
my
que
life was a great person, and they were always adding.
Bruno, hoje,
Bruno,
como meu chefe,
as
meu
my
guia,
boss,
meu
my guide,
mentor,
my mentor,
quando a gente trouxe essa
when
ideia
we
doida
brought
de
this
construir uma
crazy
nova
idea
fábrica,
of building a
no
new
Brasil,
plant in
não
Brazil,
foi fácil
it
para
wasn't
convencer o
easy to
grupo,
convince
logicamente,
Bruno,
retorno,
of
investimento,
course,
tudo mais.
the
E
return on
Bruno
investment
sempre,
and
não,
everything.
vamos,
And
nós
Bruno
vamos
always said,
vencer,
we are going to do
vamos
it,
nessa
we will
jornada.
be able,
Eu só
let's
tenho que
go in this
agradecer,
journey.
Bruno,
I can
hoje
only
nós estamos
thank you,
celebrando
Bruno,
isso
because
aqui,
if we
eu
are
acho que foi
celebrating
por
this,
causa sua,
it's
da
because of
maneira que
you.
você vem conduzindo
The
o
way
trabalho do
you
grupo, e
approach
principalmente
the
com
group,
isso.
the way you
Muito obrigado,
conduct
muita
the business.
gratidão.
Thank you very much.
A outra pessoa aqui do lado,
The
eu
only
poderia deixar de
person
mencionar hoje
I had to
também, a
mention for
importância do
sure
meu pai.
how important it is, my father.
Eu tenho 55 anos
I'm
de idade,
55.
nasci dentro dessa
I
empresa.
was born inside this company. My father, when I started working, well, in fact, when I was born, he already worked here. He started as an intern. He left as the CEO. I'm very, very proud of him. And I had to call you on stage to be here because it represents a lot to me. Thank you.
Ele trabalhou no setor elétrico
He worked
também
in the
40
electric
anos.
sector for
Uma
40
parte no
years,
Brasil,
a
os mais
great
antigos
part
do
in
setor
Brazil,
elétrico.
most of them in the electric sector. Well, we probably will remember him. And once again, thank you very much.
Try to love me, pretty little baby. I'm hoping that you do.
Imagina, gente, se toda quebra de protocolo,
If every
fosse assim,
problem with the protocol were like that,
gente.
well, this one was a
Parabéns,
quite touching
obrigado
one.
por esse momento.
Thank you very much.
Obrigada, Alexandre.
Thank you, Alexandre. What a
Aqui com
beautiful
seu pai.
project.
Que belíssimo
Well,
projeto. A gente
amazing
pôde
to see
conhecer
you
agora,
here
né,
with
com
your
mais
father.
informações, com mais
And it
profundidade.
was great to get to
Assim,
know the
vamos
project.
caminhando
So
pro final
we are heading to the end of our
dessa
event,
manhã tão
of this
especial desse
morning,
nosso evento.
such an
Queria
important
convidar
moment. I would
ao
like to
palco
invite
o Bruno
all to the
Melli,
stage Mr.
diretor-geral
Bruno
da
Mellis,
Hitachi
General Director of Hitachi Energy Transformers Business Unit. Bruno will come back. And now that's the moment to use the simultaneous interpretation. Muito obrigado. Obrigado a todos. Muito obrigado. Obrigado, Alex.
Very much. Yeah, my Portuguese is not as good as my Italian, so very, very big thanks to everybody for being here today, authority, friends, partners. I just want to go back 1 year ago. 1 year ago, we celebrated a great anniversary, 70 years in Brazil. And that is when we formalized the investment plan for Brazil. And at that time, we didn't have yet a clear idea about what to do, where to go. We just had a great idea and the ambition to really bring social and economical development in Brazil at a much higher scale. Why that was important? Was important because, like everybody addressed today, the energy transition is happening. Speed may change, we may have up and down, but energy transition is going at a speed where companies need to anticipate. And that is the magic role of Hitachi Energy today. How we can anticipate, how we can work with communities, authorities, partners, suppliers on making the energy transition smooth and steady. This is why a few years back we made the announcement of major investment that in the meantime became $9 billion. $9 billion by adding thousands of people, spending a big amount of money in technology and R&D, and then investing in factories and capacity. Transformers is an integral part of it. Actually, within Transformer, when we made the announcement about the $1.5 billion, we didn't know yet fully how we were going to spend it. But today we have over 40 factories under construction or expansion globally. And I'm very, very proud that 2 of them are here in São Paulo. And at the same time, after the anniversary that we celebrated last year, we had the plan to come back and say, let's think about where. And then we had a very, very, very nice event. Then is when I met Ricardo. And then together with Ricardo and the team, we didn't discuss about financial. We just discussed about how to make it happen. Where are we going to find the people? How are we going to work with school to create the technician of tomorrow? How we are going to build the infrastructure to make the factory running smoothly? And at the end of the day, we say, let's make it happen. And then, 6 months later, we are here celebrating the major groundbreaking of this factory. Factory that in 3 years will be one of the largest global factories that we have in Hitachi Energy. Because, and I'm very happy, and Ricardo, you should work for us in sales, because what you said regarding the market position, the fact that we are really serving Middle East, North America, shifted completely the focus of Hitachi Energy with Brazil. That is not anymore only a major domestic market, but is a generator of ideas, technology, and products that we are shipping all around the world. And this is why we keep investing. This is why we keep investing in all locations that we have in Brazil, including Blumenau. So I want that you leave this session today not with a big concern about what is coming with the energy transition, but with the reassurance that the energy transition can be managed in a very good way by working together, by co-creating together, by partnering together, and to anticipate the tomorrow needs by investing in the most important thing in the world, that is people. How we are going to build a people environment that can manage the energy transition. Because there is no economical development without social development. And this is why I'm very, very proud of what Pinda is doing. And again, Ricardo, thank you very, very much for the efforts that everybody is putting on ensuring that this factory will be up and running and giving jobs to more than 2,000 people in the region. So, big thanks from my side. Very much looking forward to see you all in 3 years' time when the factory is going to be up and running. And God knows, maybe in those 3 years, we may get some more ideas about new factories in the region. Thank you very much to everybody, and thank you for your trust. Thank you.
Muito obrigada ao Bruno pela mensagem aqui nesse finalzinho.
At the end of our event, and ladies and gentlemen, what a morning, right? So amazing, and what an honor to be here in Pindamonhangaba. After the inspiring words and presentations we just witnessed, and the emotional moment, I want to emphasize that this is a historic moment, not only for Hitachi Energy, not only for Brazil, but also for the world. The new transformer factory that will be built here represents much more than an investment. It represents innovation, job generation, development for the region, and a decisive step to in the global energy transition. This milestone integrates an international expansion program by Hitachi Energy, which is investing more than $9 billion to expand its production and innovation capacity in several countries. Here in Brazil, this unit will double the production capacity, supporting the integration of renewable energies, the grid modernization, and the data center infrastructure that support the digital innovation and artificial intelligence. With automated processes, international environmental certification, and a solid commitment to sustainability, this factory strengthens the national infrastructure, positions Brazil at the center of the new era of electricity and reinforces our country's leadership as protagonists of clean and accessible energy for millions of people. On behalf of Hitachi Energy, I immensely thank the presence of each of you, authorities, partners, specialists, press, and guests. Your participation and your presence is what makes this journey even more meaningful. And now, before we close some important announcements. Our exit will be the same one where you came in. We invite you all for a special brunch that will be served in the same place you had the reception where you arrived this morning. For those who will use the van transportation, it will leave in 1 hour. And it's important to pay attention because we have different routes. So check it out if your final destination is right. For those who will return by car, we reinforce the invitation to drive with attention and responsibility, ensuring calm and safe return. Once again, thank you very much for your presence and for being part of this very important moment. May this meeting serve as inspiration and reminder that the energy of the future is built with union, innovation, and purpose. An excellent brunch to all, and have a great afternoon. Thank you very much.